Hey, drama lovers! Welcome to True Life Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our most shocking real life tales. Life is a way of surprising us when we least expect it, and today's story is a perfect example of how karma works in mysterious ways. James, a successful 45-year-old tech CEO, had everything society deemed perfect: a beautiful mansion inherited from his grandmother, a fleet of luxury cars, and Sandy, his wife of 15 years. Their social media painted the picture of an enviable life, filled with exotic vacations and glamorous parties. But behind those carefully filtered photos lurked a reality that would soon explode in the most dramatic way possible. James wasn't always the successful man he appeared to be. His journey started humbly. He grew up in a working-class family where every penny counted. His parents instilled in him the value of hard work and perseverance. After graduating from college with a degree in computer science, James took a leap of faith and started his own tech company. The early days were brutal: long hours, sleepless nights, and countless rejections from potential clients. But James had a vision, and he refused to give up. Sandy entered his life during these early years. She was charming, supportive, and seemed genuinely interested in his dreams. They met at a networking event where James was pitching his startup to investors. Sandy worked in public relations at the time and offered to help him refine his pitch. Their connection was instant, and within a year, they were married in the beginning. Their relationship was everything James had ever wanted. Sandy encouraged him during tough times and celebrated every small victory with him. When James's company finally secured its first big client, they toasted with cheap champagne in their tiny apartment. It felt like they were partners in every sense of the word. As James's business grew, so did their lifestyle. They moved into a bigger house, traveled to exotic destinations, and dined at Michelin-starred restaurants. Sandy embraced their newfound wealth with enthusiasm, often joking that she was born to live this life. But as the years went by, cracks began to form in their marriage. The first signs were subtle: Sandy's growing obsession with social media, her increasing disinterest in James's work, and her constant need for validation from others. At first, James chalked it up to stress or boredom. He tried to reconnect with her by planning romantic getaways and surprise date nights, but nothing seemed to work. After their 15th anniversary, things took a sharp turn. Sandy became distant in ways James couldn't ignore. Her phone was always glued to her hand, tilted away from his view. She started dressing differently, more provocatively, and her Instagram posts featured cryptic captions about new beginnings and living her truth. The wedding ring that once symbolized their love began making frequent disappearances from her finger. Their once warm home turned cold and silent. Family dinners became solo affairs as Sandy spent more time out with friends or locked away in their bedroom scrolling through her phone. The credit card statements revealed extravagant purchases: designer clothes, expensive jewelry, and spa treatments. That James hadn't approved. That James's tech background proved invaluable as he began piecing together the puzzle of Sandy's behavior. He noticed suspicious activity on their shared cloud account: deleted messages, hidden photo albums, and mysterious calendar entries marked with only initials. His IT expertise allowed him to recover deleted data, revealing a web of deception that left him reeling. The psychological warfare intensified as Sandy began gaslighting James about conversations that never happened. She accused him of being paranoid whenever he questioned her late nights or secretive behavior. She even spread rumors among their friends about his controlling nature, painting herself as the victim in their marriage. Despite everything, James remained calm and methodical. He knew he needed undeniable proof before confronting Sandy about her infidelity. He began documenting her actions, saving screenshots of incriminating messages, tracking her whereabouts through GPS data on her phone, and even installing hidden cameras around their home. The situation reached its boiling point one winter evening when James came home to find Sandy dressed in a revealing black dress he'd never seen before. She was applying bold red lipstick in front of the mirror when he walked into the room. "Are we going somewhere?" he asked calmly. Sandy didn't even flinch. "No," she replied flatly. "I have a date." James's heart pounded in his chest, but he refused to give her the satisfaction of an emotional reaction. Instead, he simply said, "If you want to see someone else while we're still married, you can pack your things and leave." Sandy let out a bitter laugh. "I'm not going anywhere," she said smugly. "This house will be mine soon enough." Her arrogance was staggering, but James remained composed. He knew this wasn't just about infidelity. It was about power and control. Later that night, while Sandy was getting ready for her date upstairs, James quietly disabled her car battery and destroyed her phone SIM card. He knew she wouldn't give up easily and wanted to ensure she couldn't leave without facing consequences. When Sandy discovered her car wouldn't start, she stormed back into the house fuming with rage. "What did you do?" she demanded. James shrugged nonchalantly. "Maybe it's time you stayed home for once." But Sandy wasn't one to back down easily. In her desperation to leave for her date, she decided to take James's SUV instead, a decision that would prove disastrous. As she backed out of the driveway in his prized vehicle, she didn't notice the police cruiser parked behind her until it was too late. The SUV collided with the cruiser with a deafening crash that echoed through the neighborhood. The officers immediately sprang into action, arresting Sandy for reckless endangerment and property damage. As she sat handcuffed in the back of the police car, sobbing uncontrollably, James couldn't help but feel a sense of poetic justice. The divorce proceedings that followed were swift and brutal for Sandy. Her elaborate scheme to drain their accounts and manipulate the legal system fell apart under scrutiny from James's legal team. In the end, she walked away with little more than her car and some furniture, a far cry from the lavish lifestyle she had grown accustomed to. But life had an even better twist in store for James. Sarah, the red-headed police sergeant who had arrested Sandy that night, re-entered his life months later under very different circumstances. They ran into each other at a local coffee shop and struck up a conversation that quickly turned into something more. Sarah had her own story of heartbreak and betrayal, but carried herself with strength and integrity that James deeply admired. Their connection was immediate and genuine, a stark contrast to the facade he had lived with for years. Over time, their relationship blossomed into something beautiful, a partnership built on trust, respect, and mutual support. They married less than 2 years later and have spent the past 25 years building an incredible life together. Today, James looks back on those tumultuous years with gratitude rather than regret. The lessons he learned about resilience and self-worth have shaped him into the man he is today, a loving husband, devoted father, and successful entrepreneur who refuses to let life's challenges define him. As for Sandy, She remarried twice, but continued repeating the same toxic patterns that destroyed her marriage to James. Her reputation never recovered within their social circle, a cautionary tale about how arrogance and deceit ultimately lead nowhere good. Sometimes life's biggest disappointments pave the way for its greatest blessings. And James's story is proof that staying true to yourself while facing adversity can lead you exactly where you're meant to be. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed today's story. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that karma always keeps receipts. And stay tuned for next week's jaw-dropping tale. My twin sister stole my identity and married my fiancé. See you next time on True Life Stories.